One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. Then let me be free. One day I'm gonna be free. Mentally and physically, emotionally and spiritually. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I'm standing at the crossroads, feeling like a lost soul. Don't know where I wanna go, but all I know is I wanna be free. They're telling me to let it be, but that just ain't in me, no. Jealousy and envy, but all I see is I wanna be free. See everything I wanna be, exactly what I'm gonna be. Don't let it get the most of me. Eventually, I'm gonna be free. See everything I wanna be, exactly what I'm gonna be. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I'm gonna be free. Let me be free. One day I'm gonna be free. Mentally and physically, emotionally and spiritually. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I told them take their aim off me. Stop trying to get a name off me. If they would just let me be, I'm gonna be free. I told them take them chains off me and throw away the locks and keys. If they would just let me be, eventually I'm gonna be free.
They're back.
Shit.
What up, though? What up, though? 7 days, we're back again for another episode of Dominant Effect. I'm Archbishop. We got Mike Ball and Aaron Olinger. What's up, everybody? Glad y'all took the time to sit down and watch the show for the night. Don't forget to hit that like button on the way through. That's what get this show out on the right algorithm and get it out to the people that really need to hear this. But before we get started, like always, we always check and see what everybody done for the week. So we'll start with you, Aaron. What's up, brother? How was your week? And what's going on with you?
Well, I went and did a gun show down in Butler County, which is Hamilton area of Ohio. And it was rather a slow show this weekend. I kind of expected it because, everybody's getting their kids back to school and buying back school supplies and clothes and taking kids to college and stuff. So I wasn't caught by surprise. So I just made sure I had all my bills paid so I didn't have to count on the income from it. But other than that, it went all right.
I mean, it's been going pretty slow for the past couple of months, though, right?
Yeah, everything's slowed down. We're in our slow period. July, August, September, and October are the slow period for our shows. Then it picks up in November because hunting season starts back, and then you're rolling back into the holidays too.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. So what's up with you, Mike?
Not much, man. It's been 14 days since I've been here, so I missed the last show. I apologize for that. Had some family, gathering that was going on last Wednesday. So, anyways, it's been a great week. It's been basically family focused. Got a lot of friends coming over and hanging out, and I finally completed my whole car mission, so that thing is like finished. And so yeah, it's been great. I also added this crazy cool stream deck to the show now. I got all sorts of crazy cool things to use now. But yeah, man, it's definitely been fun to use.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Yeah, my week's been it's been busy. Like I said, I've been working around trying to do a lot of stuff. We're trying to finish up standing on business to get that out there. Those of you that was asking about Riding Dirty Part 1, that's going to be out, supposed to be out either this week or next week. It's supposed to be out.
Dang. It's awesome.
I'll put a post on the Dominant Effect page on Facebook when it actually drops, so everybody can go in there and check it out. If you're not on there, go in there and check it out. Go on the Dominant Effect podcast on Facebook, and we put a lot of information out there. It's a lot of stuff that we put out there every day, so go in there and check that out. But like I said, we have another film that's getting ready to start called Born Protector. You wasn't on here last week, Mike, so I put it out again. So there was some stuff that I've been saying over the weeks, some ongoing stuff that I was working on, that I was going to let everybody know about it once it came into fruition. So what I ended up doing was, we have the Dominant Effect podcast, but I wanted to dip into the more on the entertainment part with the films and the production and all of that. So I ended up getting with some other people, and we started Dominant Effect Entertainment.
Wow, that's awesome.
So we have we got a deal going on right now. Born Protector is the first feature film that's going to be under Dominant Effect Entertainment.
Wow, that's awesome.
That's it's fully invested. Everybody on from the crew to the cast, everybody getting paid. So we have 4 feature films and 2 miniseries that we're going to be doing within the next year. They're going to be just going back to back to back. And so it's been keeping me busy. I've been very busy trying to get
no kidding.
To get this picture started on time. So we're the Born Protector is supposed to start production in the middle of September. And then after that one is done, we're going to jump on to the next one and jump to the next one. So it's a lot of things that's going on. There's a lot of stuff in the scenes that I'm still working on. But yeah, there's a lot of good things that's happening right now. So like I said, those of you that know the words of prayer, send out one that we can keep doing this. Because I'm trying to work it out where this whole thing all intermingles and everything works simultaneously. You know what I mean? So not just for the podcast, but for the entertainment company and the production line that we got up as well. So it's a lot going on. You know what I mean? And like I said, I will keep everybody posted in the coming weeks how everything's going. But for right now, everything's looking good. We're making real good progress. So,
man, that's awesome. That's great news, man. And fully invested, like you said, being able to pay the crew. Man, that's awesome.
yeah, Yeah, so you know what I didn't realize, just from doing um it on this side of it, how complicated it was on the other side of it. All the extra stuff that you got to do and be able to, you got to contract for this and a negotiation for this, and you know what I mean, and phone calls and conference calls and meetings, and you know what I mean. There's a whole lot of stuff to have to do. So, but we got a pretty good team in place that's working on a lot of this stuff. So I'm not crammed on doing it all by myself. You know what I mean? So we got a whole little team going on and everything. Like I said, it'll be good. It'll be good. And this first one that we're gonna put out is it's gonna be a good movie. It's really gonna be a good movie. But but to jump off in this show, for those of you that may be new to the show, this is the dominant fact. And on this show, we look past the headlines and hit the pressure points that's kind of shaping our lives today. And if this episode hits home, drop a rating, share it to someone that may also be interested in this that we're going to talk about today. So, so think about this. Every week, the cost of groceries creep higher. Eggs, milk, bread, the basics of survival becomes luxuries. You may notice it on your weekly shopping trips, or maybe you've been skipping meals and so that the kids can eat. But reality is stark. The rising cost of food isn't just about your wallet, it's about survival. And tonight we're going to dig into why these food prices keep climbing, what this means for our families across America, and also what people are doing now to survive when the system seems stacked against them. This isn't just inflation. This is a warning. The fight for our future starts at the dinner table. So this is the topic that we're going to talk about today. So I got it all broke up into segments. So we got a couple different segments we're going to hit. And so first I'm going to start with the root cause. And with the root cause, I figure we're going to start with the why. Why is your grocery bill skyrocketing? There's a lot at play at that. And it's not just about a weak economy or greedy corporations. It's way bigger than that. But first, we got to think about this. So the global supply chain has been hit hard the past few years. You got the war in Ukraine to cut off a massive portion of the world's wheat and corn and sunflower oil. Millions of tons of food that used to flow freely across the globe is now being trapped in like conflict zones. So the ships aren't able to cross as they would. So, and
Or
then
once did. Right.
Right. Adding to the lingering effects of, the lingering effects of the pandemic, shipping containers that were stuck for months when the ports were closed, trucks were delayed, and even a lot of that stuff still isn't fully fixed, like dealing with the ports and also with the trucking services, because there's been some of them that's actually been shutting down, limiting loads to certain spots, etc. Even with the farmers, let's say like the fertilizer, for instance. Of course, fertilizer is what we use to make the plants grow, but it's become insanely expensive because of sanctions in Russia. That was our major exporter, and farmers are paying more to grow less, and the cost trickles down to your plate. Next, you have the climate. Climate change has been hitting food productions harder than most people realize. You got heat waves in the Midwest. You got floods in Asia. You got droughts in Africa. You have hurricanes. You got tornadoes.
I was about to say.
You got like the massive flooding that happened in Texas and in uh, New Mexico. What happens? Crops fail, harvest shrinks, prices spike, and one bad system, excuse me, one bad season of this will ripple all the way across the globe, affecting everything from bread to just regular cooking oil. So there's a corporate consolidation, as I would say, in the U.S. So you got 4 companies that control 80% of the beef market. A handful control the majority of the distribution, which kind of seems that's like a regular thing now. You always have 3 or 4 companies that basically controls everything. But when a few of these corporations control the market, the prices rise. Little competition, which leaves the customers with no choice. You either get it or you don't. And don't forget the energy on top of that, because food isn't just grown, it's shipped, refrigerated, packaged. A spike in the gas, electricity costs, all of that gets added to the bill. And when diesel costs soar, trucks hauling your food costs more, guess who's paying for it? So next time you look in your grocery store and you see a loaf of bread that's $5 or $6, it's not just wheat. It's war, climate, shipping, corporate power, all of them conspiring against that budget. So there's a lot. So like I said, when you break it all down, there's a lot to it. It's not as simple as we may think it is. You know, as we was talking a couple of weeks ago, we was talking about the trickle down effect. You know, one thing happens here, which trickles down to this, which trickles to this, to this, to this. Everybody, whether you know it or not, is involved in that. You know, so I think one of the big things that we have to deal with now is realizing that this isn't just talk, this is reality. And what is it that we're going to be able to do now for our families to be able to make it through this? Because we know, as this stuff has been going on and we've been reporting, it's not getting easier. It's going to continue to get worse, and it's getting worse by the day. So we're going to start with Aaron first. What do you think about this, brother?
I think you're exactly right. I mean, the research I did showed that right now the average grocery bill is $504 a month here in the United States. That's $6,053 per year. People who make $50,000 a year, 55% of those are afraid they can't make ends meet anymore, which means they have to prioritize their cash resources to figure out, well, am I going to eat this week or am I going to pay bills? And if they got a family, of course, the family has to eat. But I've talked with some people that the parents are eating one meal a day to try to provide for the kids. I had others say that they're eating 2 meals a day. So that's terrible right now. You got 1 in 7 households are finding it challenging to access a constant and adequate food supply. Now, right now in the United States, for your body to work function properly, a female must take in 1,600 to 1,800 calories per day to maintain their present weight. Males have to take in 2,000 to 2,200 calories per day to maintain their weight. And it has to be calorie dense food. It can't be food that's high in calories, but has no nutritional value. You're going to create health problems for yourself down the road. And as people start to seek alternatives, fast food and other things is going to fill that slot, which isn't exactly nutritious food. I mean, right now, fruits and vegetable production has been declining for decades here in the United States. And the U.S. is dependent upon other nations to supply that. We already know from all the food recalls that food that's coming in from out of the country has E. coli, salmonella, listeria in it because they're constantly having to recall it. But we're dependent upon it because our production is going down. You've got beef, 1.9% lower each year due to supply chain issues, drought, contraction of the beef herds, higher production costs. Do you have that picture to put up, Bishop,
Which one?
Yeah,
of the beef?
this one.
Yeah. I want the people to see this. This chart goes back to 2017 and goes up to present. As you can see, the cattle herds are decreasing inside this country. So if you have a supply chain shortage, price automatically goes up to compensate for it. The food goes to the highest bidder. And right now, Japan and China is bidding the highest for US beef. But as you can see, it's declining. We already know fruit and vegetables is declining. Is our soil becoming to the point that uh, it's becoming barren? It can't support the life. It can't support the life that's necessary to grow the food anymore, and that could be happening. And with the rising costs of fertilizers, um, farmers can't afford it. And then when they do fertilize the fields, some of those fields have to be shut down for 1 to 3 years to let all that fertilizer that's on the surface soak down into the ground and leach down into the ground so that
Yeah.
when the root structures are formed, you've got healthy plants. Between the failing, the, like you said, failed crops, rising prices on seed, fertilizer, etc. Then there's another thing. The government's coming out with increased regulations. And I don't know if that's because the corporate farms are paying money to put the pressure on the small farms, but the state is coming out with all these laws telling you what you can grow, when you can grow it, different things that's going on, regulating, and it's killing the small farmers. And then you got these weather disasters that are occurring left and right anymore, and that's destroying the crops. And that don't count the insects, the locusts. It don't count the fungus that's floating around, that's killing off plants. But the bottom line is food production in the United States across the board is going down, and that's a real threat right now. And if you want to have good health, you got to be eating healthy. If you can't eat healthy, then your future is going to be nothing but plagued with health issues, which helps the medical field, but it don't do nothing for you if it keeps bleeding your pocket dry. But I'll stop there for right now.
I think a lot of that. I mean, even if you decided that you was going to eat healthy, okay, and we did a show on this before when we was talking about the food that people were eating,
And fake
and
meat and
a lot of the fruit
lab.
and vegetables, a lot of the fruit and vegetables has been sprayed with so much damn pesticide, and you go through so much of a process. Even when you get, say, you go get a bag of apples, and every apple on there looking, bright red and glossy. I mean, that number one, they've been sprayed. Two, they've been waxed. You've had color added to some of them. I mean, it's always there's never something not wrong with it. You know what I mean? And if you go
Totally.
and buy organic, then you paying more for it. You know what I mean? And that's one of the bigger problems that we got going on here is because everything else is going up, but your cost of living is low.
Right.
I mean, the national minimum wage hasn't went up for umpteen damn years. I mean, it's still what $7 and something now, still.
Right.
You know what I mean? So even if you wanted to try to be healthy, you have to look at the actual food that you eating because a lot of that stuff, even though, you know, apples are supposed to be healthy, I mean, carrots supposed to be healthy, but where you're getting it from is what matters.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Might be better off eating top ramen.
Well, I'm gonna say this: from 2022 to 2025, people on the average in the United States are spending 214% more on food in just a 3-year period. Food has constantly been going up. It's difficult for someone on fixed income to plan a budget when your living costs on everything keeps going up, but your wages can't keep up with that increase.
Mm-hmm.
So regarding this subject, I really didn't know a ton about it beforehand, like on the stat wise and stuff. But I did look up something. I looked up basically how many people are struggling to eat was the question. And it came up with a total of people affected in 2023 were 47.4 million Americans lived in food insecure households. I thought this was kind of radical, and what Aaron actually had pointed out, 1 in 7 people are struggling. There it is, right there in 2023. About 1 in 7 Americans, roughly 47.4 million people, struggled with access to sufficient nutritious food, and that's crazy. That's insane. That's something that actually really blew my mind. So I just wanted to show you guys that little stats right there, but. It's totally at this point. I like what would be the fix at this point? You know what I mean? Like we're so far in the hole with this, right? With food and the way it's processed and all of that. Like, how do you fix that?
Yeah, it's a lot to it. I mean,
There's
because
so many working parts.
right. Yeah, because
They all agreed to do all this BS. You know.
true. Okay, so you got to think about this. So, like for many families that we're talking about, and just like I said before, that the wages haven't kept up with the inflation. So, you got food prices that went a lot faster than their paychecks are. Most of these families are spending anywhere between 12 to 15% of their income on groceries. That's the highest that it's been in decades.
That's a humongous percentage
You know what I mean?
of
And
their income.
that's even before rent, utilities, and even healthcare.
Totally.
So when there's an issue, okay, so take for instance, you got take like a poor urban neighborhood and rural towns that often lack grocery stores and fresh produce. Those people are forced to buy cheap, and they buying a lot of processed foods and in these convenience stores, and they're just skipping meals entirely. You know, where right now healthy eating is no longer a choice; it's a privilege. It's a privilege to go buy organic when you want. I mean, if you want fresh stuff, and actually, a lot of the stuff that's organic that they say is organic really isn't.
And it's crazy. That should be the standard,
Right.
right?
But they
Like
put
that
that
should be
sticker
the.
on it and say that it is, and it's they shoot the price up.
Yep.
You know, food banks are seeing unprecedented demands. Families, I'm pretty sure families never imagined needing charity and now standing in line for assistance. You know, local charities can't keep up, leaving people scrambling. You know what I mean? For every dollar that they making, they holding on to it. And it's not just the economics; it's the cultural aspect of this, because you got families skipping meals, kids losing school lunches. You got parents that sacrificing their own meals to feed the kids.
That's what I was doing in 24.
Yeah, I mean, hunger is creating stress, tension, social instability in the communities. I mean, everywhere. I mean, all this is packing a punch, one way or the other. Is going to pack a punch, you know. And then you see that they also put the ones that's on SNAP getting the SNAP benefits. They were talking about now that you can't buy processed food with SNAP. So
what can you can only buy what organic?
exactly, because that's what a
No
lot of them
way.
was racking up on processed food. That's what they've been racking up on. But now they're trying to. It's not in every state right now, but there are in several states. I know Florida being one of them. You can't buy processed food with SNAP. So if all you're gonna be able to buy is, you know, just meat, vegetables, whatever, you're not be able to bring in as much as you
Of
would
course
normally
not.
bought in. Because, you know, what I mean, of course, you're going to go buy this processed. I mean, you're going to go buy the little dollar bags of rice you can get 5 for $1 and stuff like that. You know what I mean? The
You
little,
stretch out your meals. Yeah.
right, right. You know what I mean? That's what, I mean, I've always done that.
Mm-hmm.
I went and bought all my meat, and then I would buy like they make the little packs with like the noodles, like you get like
Sure.
broccoli and you get like the broccoli, cheese, rice, whatever. And I'd buy like a big pack of meat and break it down, and so that way that's like, okay, if I got 6 steaks, you know what I mean, that's 6 different meals. I'm gonna break them down, and then you just add whatever you're gonna add to it. You know what I mean, to make it stretch.
Mhm.
But if you're not able to buy processed food, and all you can buy basically is meat, dairy, milk, I mean, a few little vegetables here and there, or whatever, then that's very, very little that you're going to be able to buy now. I mean, so it's definitely going to put a strain on everything. You know what I mean? Because I don't think we've ever been, this generation has never been into a situation where you have to think about, whether you're gonna eat or be able to pay your light bill, or whether your kids, or I'm not gonna eat because I need to make sure that my kids eat. You
Well,
know what I
my
mean?
shit
I don't
actually
think we
got shut down, so I know how it feels.
yeah, I mean, that's gonna be where it used to be hit and miss. You know what I mean? Now mind you, there were sections that always dealt with that. Not gonna say it didn't happen, but as a more broad scale, you know what I mean, to where you got people that's actually considered, middle class is going to struggle with this. It ain't just the fact that you broke and you trying to figure this out. That scale's growing. So where it's not just poor people that's going to be struggling. You got middle class that's going to be struggling as well, dealing with this. What's your take on that, Aaron?
Well, I agree with everything you said. I saw where someone in the comments had put up about the rice being plastic. What I strongly suggest is that you look on the packages for country of origin. And if it's from China, I wouldn't consume anything coming from there. I saw them make fake lettuce, fake deviled eggs. They had made fake rice. I mean, they're using chemicals to make up things that looks just like leafy green salad, and they're selling it. The rice is plastic, made from chemicals. You start pouring chemicals into your body, you're going to have all kinds of health issues, including cancer. So I would look real close as to the country of origin before I'd make a choice. But I think China paid off Congress a year or two ago. They want country of origin removed from the packaging now so that you can't check that to see where something came from. I mean, even the catfish that they've got coming from China looks healthy, but it was raised in the sewer systems and eating raw poop. I don't want to be eating something that had a nothing but a diet living in somebody's sewer with all that disease and pestilence. There's just
Right.
just no way. That's the reason
Mhm.
why. And if you don't mind putting up the picture about the local farmers against the corporate, yeah. I mean, the quality of food. If you go to the small farmers, the farmers markets and things, it's way healthier, better looking. It hasn't been sitting on the shelves for weeks. You're getting an overall better tasting and fresher food. And then those farmers, they need that support. So support the small guy instead of these corporate farms, because every year that goes by right now, small farms are going out of business due to rising costs, government regulations, um, bad weather conditions, all kinds of stuff. Give them your support because they need it, and they're going to give you the best tasting food and the freshest food that you can get your hands on. I mean, even when it comes down to the eggs, uh, the fresher the eggs are, the more natural vitamins and minerals and stuff that's in those eggs. If they've been sitting on a train and being shipped from here to there and you're getting them weeks later, a lot of that healthy stuff has gone away and you're not getting the real benefits that you'd get from fresh food. I mean, if I go out to my garden right now and pull some peppers or some tomatoes or whatever, I know what's in it because I raised it and I didn't use pesticides. I didn't use a bunch of craziness. So I know I'm getting 100% pure stuff. And if you make friends with some of those small farmers at those farmer markets where you guys can call each other by name, when shit gets crazy, you'll be able to go to their land and barter or trade with them without them pointing the business into something at you. They'll recognize you and they'll welcome you with open arms. And they know that you're bringing something they might want or need, and you guys can barter and trade back and forth. But make friends with these people and support them. And it's better for you in the long run health wise. But I'll stop there.
I agree with that. I mean, just here, I've got 7 chickens here on the property, and I mean, we get normally 7 eggs a day, and I never had that in the city, of course. I just never had that, and being able to have that here now, you can actually taste the difference. It's a radical difference in you get way more, richness. I don't know, man. It's just it definitely feels better. That's for sure.
Mhm. Well, you remember the show that we did back a while ago when we was talking about the lab
Fake
grown,
meat.
right? The
Yep.
fake meat, the lab grown meat,
Yep.
where they were using the cells in the labs to grow them, and then they were using cancer cells to make the meat mutate quicker.
Yeah, I guess it's like a big
And
like thing they're still, really doing now.
right, um, it was a lot of different ways that they were doing it. They was even using um, what was the one that we seen that they was using like a 3D like light printer to
Yes.
make it up, and like
It
you could see
was.
it
It
once
was like
you
making the lapse of yeah,
right.
it was weird. Yeah,
Right.
totally.
You could like pull the meat apart, but you could tell when you pull the meat apart that it wasn't real. You know what I mean? And what we even seen, what was it over in Japan where they were making steaks out of sewage. It was able to process it, and,
So
and it looked
gross.
just like it looked just like a steak. And they were
Ugh.
eating it, and it was made out of shit.
Yep.
It
Yep.
was
Literally. I remember
yeah,
all that.
yeah. So it's and they said back then, what did they say? Due to the food crisis or the upcoming food crisis, that
They
this
predicted
was
it.
this was some of the stuff that they were doing. Now, during this particular time, there wasn't actually what you call a food crisis here, but now I've seen the fake meat in the stores. You know what I mean? You can look at it. If you look at it, if you look at it good enough and you read at the bottom of it, it doesn't say fake meat. There's another word for it. I'm trying to remember what
Jeez.
that actual word was. It's a long one. But when you see it, matter of fact, when I get it, I'll post it on the on the group. But when you see that word, you know that it's fake. But I mean, otherwise you wouldn't even have any idea until you started like actually examining it, and when you start pulling it apart and it looks all stringy in the inside of it, then you know that is not real. You remember the time I was telling you about when I was in um, I think it was Golden Corral I was in, and you know how they make the steaks right there. You can just walk up and just put your plate out, and they just throw one on there or whatever.
Hmm.
And I asked him for a piece. He cut it off, threw it on there. I get to the table, and I don't know, it's a habit. Before I cut a steak, I always stick the fork in it, flip it over on the other side, and cut it. I don't know, it's just a habit. And when I did that, right before I cut it, I stopped because I noticed that it had grill marks on the steak.
Hmm.
but there is no grill over there. They use a flat grill over there. So where the hell these grill marks come from? You know,
Good
there was,
point.
there was no way that you would have grill marks there. You know what I
Right.
mean? So then now that I've seen that, now okay, they'll let me keep sitting here. They'll let me mess with this piece of meat a little bit, and then you start playing with it, and you seen the little stringiness of it and all that. Okay, here we go. Here we
That's
go.
so
Fake,
gross.
fake meat. You know what I mean? But like I said, the way they bake it now, though, if you don't actually know, you have no idea because it looks exactly like the real thing. You just don't have any idea. You know what I mean? There for a while when I was buying fruit, you know, I was thinking that my taste buds was messed up because you sit there eating and it had no taste whatsoever. It
You
tastes
thought
like
you had
cardboard.
COVID, huh?
Right. It tastes like cardboard. It had no taste to it whatsoever. And then you realize, like, once you start looking at the fruit and look at the first number on it, and that first number tells you whether or not it's been sprayed with heavy pesticides, whether it's organic, or then I think if it's like a 7 or 8, they're not quite sure. It could be either one. Like it could have been sprayed, but it may not have been. And then if you got like 9, it was supposed to be organic. But if you get one with like 2, 3, 4, don't mess with it because it's been heavily sprayed. But they don't tell you that.
Mm-mm.
You
Of
know what I
course
mean?
not.
And
That's
and
not
that's the stuff
that's
that
not in
you
their
see
best
when you walk
interest.
in and you see all these vegetables piled up and all that stuff with it. But if you didn't know to look at the sticker, and the sticker is gonna tell you, it'll tell you without telling you. You just got to know what each one of those numbers meant on it, or the
Yeah,
first number on it, and then you
that's
knew
right.
whether to mess with it.
Like in a grocery store, if it starts with a 9, that's organic.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna jump over to segment 3. Now, segment 3 is basically what you call, I would say, survival and adaptation. That's what I would call it. So what are people really doing to survive? Some burning cheap calories. You got fast food. You got processed items. But this comes as a long-term health cost because you got diabetes, you got heart disease, obesity, where survival doesn't just come without consequences. Others are going back to the roots. They're doing backyard gardens, hydroponics, home canning. People are literally growing their own food. And urban farming is actually on a rise. Community gardens are popping up in abandoned sites and lots, and social media has been crammed full of tutorials on how to stretch beans and rice and vegetables
True.
and being able to feed your family for weeks. But alternative economies are kind of emerging too. You got food co-ops, you have bartering, you have local trade, neighbors that are exchanging milk for eggs and labor for produce, and you got farmers and market cuts, which kind of cuts out the middleman altogether. But it gives a community a little bit more control over what they eat. If you are in one of those areas, that's not open for everybody. So you still have the government program like SNAP that you get benefits on, but they're struggling to keep the pace with these prices as well. And you got a lot of advocates that's pushing for universal school meats to ensure that the kids aren't going hungry during the day, because they went through and they canceled the free lunch program. And then they used to have another program where if you didn't have free lunch and kids came, they didn't have any money, then they would still, give them a lunch. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be the lunch that these kids got. It would be a different kind
At
of
least
lunch.
something. They
Right,
got
right. It'll
something
be a
back
different
there
kind of
for
lunch
you.
that they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I would guess like the big picture is that people in most areas are learning to adapt. Um, but that's like what's the name? What's the word I'm looking for?
Adapt like financially.
No, it's more like a patchwork solution that
Okay,
works in one community but fails in another.
got you.
And so, like right now, survival is becoming like a DIY project. You know what I mean? Where
Mm-hmm.
some people are actually going back to the basics and actually trying to learn how
Mm-hmm.
to grow and bringing in chickens, and some that have ponds that's keeping it stocked. I mean, stuff like that. They're taking other precautions to to be able to kind of cut that cost down and to be able to uh, eat healthier because it's stuff that you're growing on your own. I mean, me and Aaron talk about that all the time. I think you got plants growing over in your spot. I got quite a few uh, different peppers and onions and different things I
Mm-hmm.
got growing out here too. Um, but it's a lot of stuff that you just got to learn how to do. You know what I mean? It's better to do it now. I mean, instead of waiting for something to actually happen. But I think a lot of people are actually starting to catch on to what's really going on here, and being a little bit more proactive about how to handle the situation. You know what I mean? I think the last thing that people want to do is have to sit there in the house and wonder, you know, whether me and my kids are going to be able to eat. You know
Or
what I
have the
mean?
electricity on.
Right. I mean, mind you, growing your own food, that takes time. It does. Um, but like I started growing that stuff, like I didn't have no problem doing it because I knew that that wasn't something that I was worried about right now. You know what I mean? That was something that I was planning for ahead of time. You know what I mean? When during that time when I started doing that was stuff that was during the time that we wasn't even talking about this kind of stuff anyway. This was something that I wanted to do because it's something that I always had done. You know what I mean? Growing my own vegetables and peppers and stuff like that. I haven't gotten to the herbs yet. I want to kind of dab with it a little bit, but haven't messed with that yet. But I've been dealing mostly with like,
That's next
pepper.
level shit right there. If you're doing herbs and shit, it's
Yeah, yeah.
awesome.
I ain't got to that point yet. Um, I think Aaron was probably growing some herbs over. I
Yeah.
haven't messed with none yet.
Yeah.
We
But
used to grow them. We used to grow them in California, but oddly enough, since we came out to the country, we don't grow them anymore.
But Mike, if you don't mind, put up that blue picture that I
Sure.
sent you.
Yeah, I got you. There it is.
Right here is 8 ways to preserve food. We got to go back to the old ways that our grandparents and stuff used, and they didn't waste anything. Everything got used, you know. So you can dehydrate, you can freeze. I mean, at Thanksgiving, if all the turkey didn't get ate, what did grandma do? She made chicken salad or something out of it. It didn't go
turkey
to waste.
patch.
Yeah. So, we got to go back to those methods. And that way, if we don't waste nothing, then it don't hit our pocket as hard. But I mean, we're still going to be impacted, but we got to look for workarounds. Water bath canning, pressure canning, dehydrate food, freeze food, ferment, root cellars, pickle, salt cure. You can even honey glaze some meats, and it will keep that meat good for a while. um, we got to get back to the old methods. This system that we're in right now is built to make us all broke, keep us subservient, reliant upon it. We can't live without it. But anyone that is self-reliant, we can raise our own food. You can buy your own land. My dad, they butchered their own hogs and cattle. They didn't count on a butcher to do that. They knew how to do that themselves. They butchered their own deer. Their freezers stayed full. Uh, when you're independent like that and things happen in the system, you're going to be the least affected by it. You don't have to be the richest person in the world. Just have the knowledge and skills and start practicing them then now. Start growing some things in containers. Even if you don't have land, get you some containers and start growing you some plants in your apartment or something, because you'll learn that there's some tricks to the trade. There's some ins and outs, and you got to be able to tell when a plant is less not getting the right nourishment and know what you got to treat it with. Otherwise, it's going to die. The first time you have crop failure, when you're relying upon that food because you didn't know what to do to handle it, you're going to be in dire straits. So learn those skills, get off the system, get out of the matrix, because the matrix is don't have our best interests at heart. It's just to drain our pockets for the benefit of the ruling elite and make us all be poor in the end. But we got to look ahead. We got to start planning ahead and start doing things to where we stop the waste. I mean, I can't tell you how much food I've wasted in my lifetime, but now I'm trying to use everything.
Dude,
If I
the
go
amount of food that I wasted in a week is insane.
right, but now I'm trying to find different uses and what I can do with it. And if nothing else, then I'm out there feeding the squirrels and the local, I call it my livestock. I'll put it like that. Because when push comes to shove, the tree chickens is going to be on my plate. And I want them nice and fat. So I'm
Tree
constantly feeding the wildlife around my house. So nothing goes to waste. Everything gets used. But I'll stop there.
He said the tree chickens.
Yep.
Shit.
Oh, yeah. When you was talking about those containers, Aaron, that's exactly what I did here.
Mhm.
So, so what I did, and I've been doing this for quite a while, but I did it mostly when I came here to Florida because of the ground. You know what I mean? It's mostly sandy. You know what I mean? Now you got you go down to South Florida, stuff like that, you got more, more of a rich dirt or whatever. But in a lot of the spots here in Florida, it's mostly sand. So what I did, I went and bought these totes. The totes that you store your winter clothes in or whatever.
Big
Mhm.
plastic
Yeah.
ones. Yeah.
Yeah. So I bought those totes, and at the bottom of it, I drilled holes in it on the bottom. And then I took compost, put a layer of compost, layer of fertilizer, layer of topsoil. And I planted all my plants in there. And then sat them in areas where I knew it was going to get, mostly sun in the morning, shade in the evening. And then depending on the plant, some of them like more sun than shade. You can put them on. You can put them in different areas of the yard or whatever, and let them grow, and they'll grow just fine. You have that compost and the fertilizer underneath. That compost will keep decomposing, keep feeding that plant, it'll keep that root system strong, and it'll keep growing.
Mhm.
So these a lot of these plants that I have out here, there's some of them I've had for over 2 years.
Damn.
And they just keep producing.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to keep them. Like I said, you got to understand what each plant is. You know what I mean?
You have to invest that time too. Like,
Right.
hey, it's going to take X amount. It's not like I'm getting my product tomorrow. Like you got to invest in yourself with time as well.
Yeah, I had a couple. I even got a couple where I took. I went and bought pineapple and cut the top of it,
Yep.
dried it out, and then planted it. Now that sucker's sitting out like this, just
That's
big, huge
awesome.
bushes. But they but yeah, I mean, it can easily be done. You just got to take that little time and do it. You know what I mean? And also, right now would be a good time to start gathering seeds. Get you a good seed bank going. With right now, you can get them fairly inexpensive, but you know that when push comes to shove and stuff start tightening up, prices on that going to go up too. So I got about a good 50, 60 packs of various seeds, you know what I mean, which
Great to have.
doesn't
on
take long to
standby.
do. I mean, you can easily germinate them and get them going. You know what I mean? They're super easy to do. But you can go to some places right now and you can get them. You can get seeds for $1 a pack. You know what I mean? You can go to the farm stores and get seeds or whatever. So
They
it's
are
always
cheap.
good to keep your good little seed bank just in case. You know what I mean? If there's something that you want to do, like I said, anybody can try it. You know what I mean? A lot of people say that they're not green thumbs and they can't grow anything. You don't got to do a whole lot. You don't got to do a whole lot to them at all.
Yeah.
And
They
and
just keep growing.
let me add to that. You want to buy heirloom seeds because you want future generations of the plant. If you go there and you want to grow watermelons and you buy seedless watermelon seeds, you're only going to get one crop.
Right.
And anything that is seedless is made by man. That's a genetically modified food. If it's made by God, it's going to have seeds. And if it's made by man, it will be seedless. And a lot of that that GMO food causes health issues, especially cancer. So I would stay away from the seedless. Yes, you got to spit seeds out. But when you get to be an old man my age, you want to be able to have some mobility and be able to move around. You don't want to be all stowed up and on a walker. But I'll stop there.
Yeah, you got to get savvy with this. It's kind of like with my whole ordeal on a personal level. I know this is a little bit off the beaten path, but for instance, like my leg ordeal, there's a lot of things that I have to do that no doctor's gonna ever try to recommend. No one wrote a playbook on what I have to do in my position, right? And I have to just do things, and there's random stuff that I do in my day to day life that I just had to figure out, right? You have to not be so confined to like, oh, the rule book says you got to do this, 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 whatever. Sometimes you got to get savvy with this shit, and this is one of them.
Yeah, I want to add one more thing. I saw in the comments where someone said that it's hard to grow food enough to live on if you live in New York in an apartment. I don't know how big the balconies are. I don't know if you have one or you have two, but you would want to get
There is.
a vertical garden is what you want to do if an area is restricted. And then what's just inside the window frame of the patio doors is also growable area. Will you be able to grow enough that you could totally eat on? No. But the goal here is to cut that food bill. And you will be able to do that. In my area, I think zucchini was $4 a piece, and some of the cucumbers were 2 or 2.50 a piece. I mean, 10 years down the road, they could be $10 each. I mean, the goal here is to keep that money in your pocket, not have to spend it. So I'd look strongly into that, but I'll stop there.
Yeah, a lot of that. Yeah, a lot of that stuff there is. I mean, especially if you living in New York City. I mean, that's the concrete jungle. You know what I mean? You're not gonna. It ain't
I
gonna be
come
a
from
whole lot of
one.
spots you're gonna be able to grow. You know, and yeah, they do have the little hanging devices that you can put like they like good for like tomatoes and stuff like that you can
Right.
hang, and it basically grows upside down, grows down instead of. Yeah, it's a lot. It's some of that stuff that you can do. But yeah, you're right. If you lived in the city, yeah, that would be a pinch. It would be a
Yeah.
pinch.
I mean, that's where I came from. I only know this country life as of a year, right? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So to me, I get a lot of luxuries on the land side of things and being able to have space, and good enough to be able to like farm here if I wanted to. Can't
Yeah.
really do that where I come from.
Because if you live in a city and space is critical, look into hydroponic gardening. And if you have a fish tank, look into aquaponics. You could set that right up right there in your living room close to a window. And that fish water, that dirty fish water becomes fertilizer for your plants. You're setting up a whole ecosystem. So look into that because they got some nice systems out there that you can invest in. And again, you know the quality of the food that you're eating. You're not eating something that could give you health problems down the road. But I'll stop there.
So for this last segment here, we're gonna talk about. Let's talk about the future. The future part of this. And what does the future look like for food if the prices keep rising the way they're going? Okay. We got a storm out here again. And the thunder about
Oh,
shook the
damn.
house. Man,
Oh,
the thunder just
shit.
made everything rattle in here. So you got technology to stick it in. You got lab grown meat, plant-based proteins, AI designed meals. Will these innovations be affordable for the average family, or will they just create another corporate monopoly controlled by what we eat? Governments may intervene if food becomes unaffordable. Historic examples, like in World War II, we had rationing of food cards. You got the same thing that was going on in Venezuela back a few years ago when they had a crisis. Authorities had to step in and manage their supplies.
I remember that.
And in some extreme scenarios, food could literally be a currency. I mean, when we made jokes about it when the egg prices went up, was talking about, you know what I mean, like, I give you 3 eggs for this, and you know what I mean, we were joking, but in all actuality, that could be very real.
Oh,
So
yeah.
when you have eggs, rice, flour, and the basics may be traded like money.
Like bartering old school.
Right. And when we was talking about, we were joking about it, but it really isn't that far fetched. I mean, already happening in parts of the world that's suffering hyperinflation. But the big question is, will we adapt fast enough? Or will hunger become the fault line that divides societies into 2 groups, the fed and the starving? I hate to say it that way, but
it's true.
it's very true. And it's actually happening in these other countries. Like I said, a lot of this stuff that we talk about, you know, people kind of say, well, that's not what we got going on here. You're right. That's not what's going on here yet. But if it's happening everywhere else, everything trickles. I mean, and the way
100%.
the way stuff is going on, like I said, with these, even with the supply chains, everything moves around. One cog moves this way to make the other cog moves the opposite way. Everything moves in its own rotation. And when you put a stop in one thing, it counteracts everything else that's going on. This is the reason why everything is going up. You know what I mean? Now you add the, you know, the back and forth tariff thing, or whatever, whether it's in, it's out, or whatever. You got that little part. But then you have a lot of these countries, though, that's been dealing with hunger issues for a long time. Now is beginning to where it's coming here, and it's flexing your pocket, and it's going to continue to flex your pocket if you don't come up with other ways that you can be able to counteract what we have going on. Because if not, then, like I said, you're going to have those 2 divisions. And which one you going to put yourself in is going to depend on which way you chose to handle the situation.
Yeah.
So,
and it starts today.
absolutely. Um, so as the food prices climb, and these stakes aren't just economic. Like I said, they're existential. Hunger isn't just an empty stomach. It's a system of broken systems. You got war, climate, disasters, corporate power. From your kitchen table to global politics, food touches everything. The fight of your future may start where it has, as I said before, on your dinner table. So think about what you're eating, where it's coming from, and who decides if you get to eat at all. The choices we make today and the choices that we adapt to will define your survival for tomorrow. So that's going to be our show for today. Like I said, I appreciate each and every one of you to come on that took part in the chat and that listens every week. Don't forget to like, follow, share, subscribe. Pass this video over to someone else that doesn't normally watch, that need to watch. Click the little QR code up there for the Dominant Effect webpage. You can also see a lot of other things we got on there. We got merchandise, we got a little bit of everything on there. And those of you that are not on the YouTube, I mean not the YouTube, but Facebook page, go on the Dominant Effect on Facebook. And like I said, we put a lot of stuff on there. I mean, it's a lot of people get on there and talk or whatever, and we post stuff that we see throughout the week, stuff that you may not know, but you may want to pay attention to. You know, some stuff will make you laugh. Some stuff will be like, wow, this is really what's going on. But like I said at the beginning of the show, we tend to dig into stuff that most people don't. And we're digging in it because it don't just benefit us. It benefits us, our family, your family, and everyone else to be able to watch this. So we're going to keep pumping this out, because one thing that with everything that's been going on, that this world has been missing, it's been missing for a long time, is the truth. And that's the one thing that I pride myself on with this show, is that what we put out here is the truth. And hopefully everybody kicks in and be more proactive and do what you need to do for your family. So I'll see you all in 7 days. Much love to you all. Go ahead, Aaron.
Well, I'm going to say this. I've been a big proponent on self-reliance. I've always tried to push that on people. Get that food bank and that water bank together. Get some over-counter meds. Have your own little pharmacy right there in your house. Start putting stuff back, because the cost of everything a year from now is going to be even higher than what it is. Learn more skills. The more skills you learn, the more confident you'll be to be able to handle situations. You won't be as lost as some of these people are. But also realize that if you got food growing and somebody don't, how are you going to defend it? I mean, last year, I didn't get that much out of my garden because somebody was climbing my fence late at night and was stealing my products. So this year I had to make a decision on cameras. Do I need to put some attack dogs back there, train me some dogs? Do I want to put some bear traps? But, you know, everybody's sue happy these days. So the cameras or the spotlights and the dogs was probably the more viable option. But, you know, that requires a constant investment on a bill there. So, you know, how far are you willing to go to defend your preps? And then don't be selfish about things. Realize that you've got children, you'll have grandchildren. Pass those skills down. Yeah, they ain't gonna want to listen to you. They ain't gonna want to hear it. But as they get older, they start to see it. I mean, in 2019, I had a friend say, "Why should I learn how to grow beans, green beans, when I can just go buy a can?" Well, right now he realizes, and we showed it in this show, fruit and vegetable production is down in the United States, has been going down for decades. And now we can clearly see for decades, the cattle production is going down, beef is going down, food production in the United States, period, is going down. This is a viable threat. Wake up, see the threat, and then ask yourself, what if this gets worse? How am I going to handle it? And I'll stop there.
With that being said, real quick before we end off, I got to give a big shout out to Papa Penguin for gifting out 10 memberships, man. Not only helping me, but you're helping someone in the chat, man. I'm very honored by that, kind sir. Thank you for your contributions to the channel, everybody. Make sure you guys hit that like button on both sides, man. It goes a long freaking way. It definitely goes a long freaking way. Make sure you guys go over there to the Diamond Effect podcast over there on YouTube and check it out, man. And also, if you guys are on my side, stick around. We're going to be raiding our buddy Grid. So let them know we're coming through with the raid. Also, I can't thank Aaron and Archbishop enough. They always bring the heat, man. Sincerely, you guys definitely do your research in all of these specific topics. Now, something that I do is a little bit more broad. You guys go into a very specific thing, and I love that. I think that's where I think that's where we learn the most. So, nonetheless, I can't thank you guys enough, and we'll see you guys here in 7 days. Much love, honor, respect to everybody.